we got to jump to the story about the Republican Party. We got this from Breitbart. Exclusive. Tool to enforce Orwellian rules. 80 House Republicans help pass bill to fund federal vaccination database. According to the bill, also called H.R. 550, the government would provide $400 million in taxpayer dollars to fund immunization system data modernization and expansion. A system otherwise defined as a confidential population-based computerized database that records immunization doses administered by any healthcare provided to persons within the geographic area covered by that database. I want to point out it's called the immunization infrastructure. The COVID vaccine does not immunize you. Okay, this is very, very important distinction. You will not be immune. Okay, the YouTube rules are very clear on this one. Okay. The COVID vaccine reduces the likelihood you'll get it, reduces the severity, and if you do get it, hospitalization, all that is reduced as well. There have been some graphs about it, but it's important because they're calling it the Immunization Infrastructure Modernization Act, and I think it's important. The New York Daily News reported on LeBron James getting COVID, and it said not even the king is immune to COVID, and I'm like, and he's fully vaxxed?
Yep.
I think this is the narrative here that the vaccine is not immunization, it is vaccination. And now I guess the definition has changed to mean it reduces your likelihood of catching and having a severe case. So just one final thought is to move into this. We had 80 Republicans sign on board with this. I don't believe that a red wave is going to save Americans' freedom.
Yeah, absolutely not. I mean, we've been talking about this for a while. Be prepared to be disappointed by the people who are going to be the fall guys. It's just like wrestling. They're going to come in. They're going to be, they're pretending to be the bad guys now. They're going to be the popular guys, but it's all a show. It's all scripted in so many different ways. Dan Crenshaw, I heard, also voted for this. And to see 80 House Republicans vote for a federal vaccine registry, what do you think registration will lead to? I mean, it's common sense. It's what's happening in Germany. It's what's happening in Australia. It's what's happening in Israel. It's what's happening in the United Kingdom. They need a database of everyone complying because now they know who's playing ball and who's not. It's no longer going to be the paper that's your vaccine proof. It's going to be a federal digital track, trace, and database system, which again will be integrated into the social credit score, which we've been warning about from the very beginning of this.
But it said it was confidential. They're saying...
Yeah, do you think a government federal registry is
but
going to be
promised,
confidential?
Luke?
No.
How could anything go wrong if consolidating data like that?
Confidential memes, they get to read through your private
And so do their
stuff.
friends.
Yeah, who knows
This
who
is
gets
at the
hacked?
same time as the federal government. Biden's COVID czar literally was on the national media today saying that everything's on the table to implement a domestic vaccine passport when it comes to interstate travel. So this is literally what there's politicians, there's ruling elites in the United States that are seething, that are waiting to implement what Australia and what Germany have already implemented. They are waiting to implement this, and it's terrifying. The CDC just gave themselves new surveillance powers in order to track this new variant. Who allowed them to have surveillance powers? They did it themselves. They're acting more and more like just a totally runaway, undemocratic, unfree government that thinks they could impose their will onto anyone when they want, and that's absolutely crazy and dangerous.
So the founding fathers, right? They're probably like sitting around in Ben Franklin's living room. They smoked a lot, so they're probably stoned or probably on opium or something. And then Jefferson's like, dude, what if like we make a government and it goes nuts? And then Ben was like, whoa. And then Tom's like, yo, we should give everyone the right to keep and bear arms. Like, and then
no.
Ben was like, dude, we don't give it, man. God gives it. He's like, you're right.
God gives all this.
That might be the best description I've ever heard of the Constitution.
They were probably drinking. It was probably at a pub and they were drinking, and they were like,
have you ever looked back and see what they drank at some of these Continental Congress meetings?
What was it?
Insane amounts of alcohol.
Oh, yeah.
I wrote something on it once years ago. I'm like, because you will not believe how much alcohol they consumed. I didn't believe it.
Well, they needed to because a lot of the water wasn't safe
Yeah.
for them to drink, so a lot of them drank beer.
I'm trying to think, did they still have that big of water issues in 1770?
It was easier for them to make beer than to sometimes even filter
1787,
water.
yeah.
So you have all of these dudes. They meet up together and they're all sitting there, and Thomas Jefferson and John Hancock, and they're just like, we can't go to war. I mean, I understand. We're going to keep petitioning the king. It's like, all right, a round of drinks on me, but let's keep talking. And then by 2 hours go by, I will declare independence.
Standing on tables.
Everybody gets guns,
Yes.
and they're like, yeah, and they're fighting.
I can honestly say this doesn't scare me as much because They got their fingers in everything, and partly I count on the incompetence of government. Like they're going to collect a bunch of data, it's going to sit there. I don't think the good thing is our system is built to withstand this, unlike Germany and Austria and Australia, everyone else. I'm not saying it's not a threat. It is a threat. It's not going to happen here, and I'm not saying that to make people lax we got to take it seriously, but. I really believe our system is going to withstand this. There's not the political will in any. Let's face it, the Biden administration is floundering. Do they really want to pick this battle now? Say that you can't travel at all? Like they're terrified that the economy. No, they're not though. If you look, doing some stuff internationally that they're doing, I oppose all of it. Don't get me wrong. I think they're terrified. I don't think they're stupid enough to go down this road.
If at the beginning of COVID, right, if someone sat you down and said everything's going to happen the way it did, would you believe them before COVID? With how far the government has already intervened in our lives, with how much they have already taken from us, with how much they already locked us down, with how much they destroyed this
boosters were a conspiracy theory.
Yeah. No, if someone sat you down before COVID began and said the government's going to be disinvolved in your life, would you believe them before COVID?
I think I would believe what happened in the United States. I'd be less inclined to believe what we're seeing in Australia and some of those things. And yeah, I mean, that's my answer. I would be shocked. There is the potential for danger here. We should oppose it. We should get angry about it. But I think our system is going to prevail in this case. I think we're going to put the kibosh on this. It's not going to go very far.
TSA extends mask mandate for domestic flights over Omicron coronavirus variant through mid-March. So that's public transportation, domestic flights, ships, taxis, trains. And we've already heard from Fauci that they're adding new requirements. You need a negative test before boarding an international flight. And after you get here, you got to quarantine. So they are slowly pushing this forward. But look, any smart desperate knows you can't come out and say, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to lock you in your homes and weld your doors shut. That wouldn't work. People would be like, screw off. But after 2 years, I think it's fair to say we are in the rat hope experiment. Are you familiar with it?
I don't think I am.
Dude puts rats in these tubes full of water and they struggle. After 15 minutes, they give up and they drown and die. He puts another group of rats in there. They struggle. Right as they're giving up, he takes them out, dries them off, lets them chill, picks them up, puts them back in. The second time they go in, they swim for 60 hours, believing if I just keep swimming, eventually the hand will save me again. So we go under this lockdown for about a year and a few months, and then they let it all open. Everyone's like, oh, thank heavens, we're getting back to normal and the economy should be coming back. It's not. And then all of a sudden they say, oh no, a new variant. Now we've got to start implementing these lockdowns. And they're not going to do it instantly because people would lose it. But I say give it a few months, especially with the midterms coming up. They're going to exploit this crisis, and then they're going to lock us down harder than we've seen. I could be wrong about it. I don't know.
I'll say just, I'll go back to my home state. I live in Minnesota, Twin Cities. We're not, I won't say we're a blue state, but we're certainly a purple state. Governor Tim Walz was recently, getting questions like, why aren't you going under an emergency lockdown? And he gave an answer that was incredibly honest. Like he didn't, he really implied that politics had something to do with it. Now, he also said there's no evidence that says this will be, effective, another emergency order. I think, above all else, politics is staying elected. And I think people know that Americans are kind of fed up with these policies. And yeah, like the feds have some power as far as like what they can monitor, vaccines and international travel and things. Partly I'm trying to be optimistic here. I don't want to be too doom and gloom. We're not Australia yet, and I don't think we're going to be because Americans have wised up a lot. We have guns. It makes a big difference. In the last 18 months, I think Americans have kind of awoken. I hate to say that word.
You are right. You are right. Actually, I recorded a segment on this earlier that Democrat pollsters are basically sending red flags up saying we're going to lose in 2022. And the reason is the economy is the most important issue, number one, and Democrats aren't talking about it. The lockdowns seriously impacted the economy. But in Virginia, one pollster said it wasn't critical race theory. Certainly that had some of an impact, but it was the COVID restrictions on schools. Parents were already struggling due to the lockdowns. Now their kids are back at home and they're trying to figure out nannies or who's going to watch the kids. And they got really angry about it. So because of their push towards this is why I think there's a good possibility they might not, because they know if they do this, the American people have already said no way. I think they're still going to maintain this path because of social media pressures. And so long as Republicans don't do anything stupid like voting on, a bill to create a vaccine database, which they did.
And they shouldn't be supporting that. It's ridiculous.
Right.
And anybody that did, if I was one of their constituents, I'd be writing them a letter.
But that's
They got
what
a free
they're
pass.
doing. They don't care about the letters. They care about the big multinational corporations that really call the shots here, and they will appease them. They will bow down. They will get on their knees. I have no hope for the Republicans when they take over. I have no hope in Dan Crenshaw, Mitt Romney, Liz Cheney, and the party of rollover. Let our soft bellies be shown to the globalists, as of course we sell out our constituents as the hope that we're going to be something better when we're just going to be the same thing with a different color behind it. I'm so sick of it. We should be appalled that the U.S. government shut down small businesses while allowing Walmart, Costco, and all these other big box stores, Amazon, to do whatever they wanted to. They destroyed and have created the largest transfer of wealth in recorded human history, robbing poor people blind, enriching the billionaire class. And if we think they're not capable of doing what Australia is doing to its people, I think we're not paying attention. I think we're at a moment where they are itching for a new tragedy to exploit, and they will use anything, manufacture anything, or even do anything to create this tragedy at this particular moment in order to get their way.
I echo most of that. Now, but here's what I will say: I don't trust a Republican any more than a Democrat for the most part. At the same time, as a libertarian, gridlock is good. We want gridlock. Gridlock, if you look at historically at spending and other metrics we can use, when there's gridlock in Congress, well, a lot less bad stuff happens.
But it's not gridlock. The Republicans were on board with every agenda pushed against the American people, especially when COVID came. They were like, yes, Dr. Fauci's great. Whatever Dr. Fauci wants, Dr. Fauci gets. 14 days to slow the spread. Great idea. And the Republicans didn't even bat an eye. Didn't give a damn about their constituents, their people. They said, back the blue. Support police officers as they bust down your door and shut down your business. That's ridiculous. And for people to still believe that they're going to change anything, I think it's naive in my personal opinion, but I may be too black-pilled.
No, hey, there's reason for cynicism, and I don't. You're not wrong that the GOP. What did they do for us in 2020? Not a heck of a lot. So I hear where you're coming from, but I have no misconceptions. Next year, if Republicans take the House, if they take the Senate, is everything going to change? Well, no, but gridlock is good.
If there is a primary red wave and everybody who watches this goes and tells 10 of their friends and family to vote in the primaries, then you will get something special come November, because all of a sudden you're going to have a whole bunch of, populists being like, all that establishment crap is out. Thanks for checking out this segment from the Timcast IRL podcast. If you want to watch live, you can check out this channel Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Now, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to this channel, and if you want more unfiltered and uncensored content with all of these guests, go to timcast.com and become a member. All of these guests you know and love in exclusive segments on our website where we are unrestricted in what we talk about, so you'll definitely not want to miss it. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you all next time.